everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bilikis. How you doing? Hope you are good. Before I get started, I have to say thank you to all those who called, send me text messages for the Eid holidays. I say a very big thank you to you, and I really do appreciate it. So today's class will be on how to make a kimono dress with a flared sleeve, and trust me, it's going to be very, very beautiful. And now I'll be making use of these two fabric. Is a plain and pattern fabric, and then you can mix two African prints together. That really goes along. So this will be for the main dress, and this will be for the sleeve, the collar, and then the belt. So I'm going to make sure it is very detailed for you to understand. You can follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures, and on Facebook, Sewing Innovations. So let's get started. And for our online classes and sewing tools, contact us through the number in the description box below. So now let's get started. Now to the main bodies, all you have to do is to fold with your largest circumference, that is around your body. All I did was to fold the fabric once, then twice, then check if it will be enough for you. So my largest circumference is my hip circumference, which is 46. But I'll be making use of 48 because it should be a free dress. It is better when it is free, so I'll be making use of 48. So when I divide 48 by 4, I think I should have 12 inches. And here I have 14 because I'm going to need 1 inch for the side seam allowance. So that will make it 13, and here I have 14, so it is fine. So what I'm going to do next is this. So before I go to the upper parts, you can start anyhow. First, the bust measurement. The bust measurement I'm using here is 44, and when I divide that by 4, I should have 11 inches. So to that, I can even add piece of half an inch. It is totally optional, but it is better when it is free. So that will make it 11 and a half. 1 inch for side seam allowance. Then I will go over to the waist. You can insert your waist measurement, but I'll show you how I'm going to do mine. Over to the hip. The hip circumference I'm using, as I've told you, is 48. When I divide that by 4, that should be 12 inches. So 12, I could even add extra half to that because the bigger the better. Extra 1 inch for side seam allowance. Gotten this, what I'm just going to do on the waist measurement is this. Since I have 11 and a half for the actual hip measurement, I'm just going to deduct 1 inch from that because I don't want it to be too much, because on a normal day I should be having like 10 and a half, but it will be too much. I want it to be free, so I'm just going to deduct about 1 to 1 and a half from this. This is 12 and a half, so when I deduct 1 inch, that should give me 11 and a half. So that's fine, that's better. And I can connect it. My hip curve I'll connect to. And then going to the hem of the dress. So you should know the length of your dress. Like for me, 44 to 45 is fine, because it is a short dress. So from the edge here, you're just going to measure down 45. So here I have 45. So if I'm making use of 44, 1 inch is enough for seam allowance. So I'm just going to use the length of this fabric. So all I have to do, measure whatever you have here. So I have 13 and a half. I'll just measure that at the hem. And then mark a straight line. The main dress is ready. So we are done with that. So now let's move to the upper part of the dress. So what I'm going to do now is to insert the 3 inches, 8 inches standard. If you don't know about this, you can check out my video on how to draft a basic bodice. This is used to determine the slope of your dress or top. So first 3 inches, then 8 inches. From the 8 inches, I'll just come down by 1 inch. the 3 inches to the 8 inches mark. So that is your shoulder slope. Now I can insert my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 8.5 inches, but I'm going to make it 9 because it's a free dress. So 9 inches. On the bust line here, 8.5 plus the half inch is making 9. The same thing. That we use for the armhole. The next thing is to get the midpoint here. That is after the shoulder slope, so half of that is 4. From the 4 inches, I will come in by 3/4 of an inch. That will be for the front armhole. That's the front, then the back. So we are as good as done. Now going to the neckline. So here, if you are a plus size, 3 inches is fine, but extremely extra large, you can make use of 3.5. Then if you are a small size, you will use 2.5. So instead of these 3 inches, use 2.5. It's just going to be perfect. So for me, I'm just going to maintain the wideness of 3 inches for my neckline. And then for the back, I'll come down by 1 inch. So that's 1 inch. That's the back neckline. So having done that, we'll go to the front. For the front neckline, it is different. All I have to do is to connect from this neck width down to the armhole line. So and on the armhole line, you just have to go in 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch inward. All this is to make it balance so well on you. Can you see? 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. So let me connect that first. Can you see? Then I will measure about 4 to 5 inches below. So I'll measure 4.5. And then just use your hip curve because it's just a slight curve. Just light, or you could just make it straight too. All this is very essential. Just make it sit well. Can you see what I have? So this is for the front. It sits perfectly. So now we can cut everything out. So first we'll cut the back area. Then don't forget to add 1/2 inch seam allowance at the shoulder area. All others has been added. I'll be cutting the back armhole first and the back neckline. So this is the dress. I'll have to remove the back. This is the back, then back to the armhole and neckline. Now have to slit this all down. I I've slitted this, and this is what we have now for the front. So can you see what that looks like? So this is the front, and the back is just full. This is the back. Can you see that? So now for the collar, I will have to join the shoulder of both the front and the back together, because that would be required. Make sure right side are facing each other. Sewing half an inch here, half an inch here. So while doing that, I'll go over to cut the sleeves. This is my t-shirt sleeve pattern, but you can make use of your dress sleeve, anyone you have at hand. Then I folded my fabric. Can you see? I just folded it this way. So you need a lot of fabric for this flared sleeve compared to your normal straight sleeve. So all I'm going to do now is this, to slash and spread the sleeve. So just get the midpoint or closer to the straighter parts. Then I'm going to take my ruler and just draw a straight line down. Get my scissors. I'm going to slit it. You can just leave this straight. Then this part is the most important part. Please don't cut it open. Then you now have to place this straighter part on the folded part of your fabric. Then I'll have to add some seam allowance. That will be to hem the sleeve. So all you have to do is to open this particular part. You see that? So how much fabric you have will determine how flare is going to be. Can you see? So let me just maximize what I have here. So let me pin this down. Can you see how I have that? So just mark on the edge. Can you see? So this is what it should look like. But I'm going to add some seam allowance to that. At least 1 inch. So this is what you have. Also seam allowance here. Also here. So just watch as I cut it out. Now this is what my sleeves looks like. So you can just use this very fabric to cut out the other one, so you don't need the pattern again. So can you see the sleeve? So beautiful. So this is how it's going to be on you. So I'm going to use this to cut one other one, then we can start cutting the collar. I have my 2 sleeves ready now. You see? So beautiful. So that is it on the sleeve. So you have them attached to the dress this way. So now going over to the collar now. I told you earlier on that I'll have to join the dress by the shoulder, which I've done. Then the next thing now is to measure what the length of my collar is going to be. Can you see? So this is the center back now. So you can just notch it. Can you see? I'm going to take my measuring tape and measure from this edge all down. Can you see? Till the hem of the dress. And when I measure, I have 48 inches. So meaning I'll have to cut 2 long strip of 48 inches. But on the average, peradventure you lost out on some measurements. So instead of that 48, you could make it 50 or 55 or whatever. Just add extra 2 inches. So you could always trim it off. So here I have a long strip of fabric here now. So looking at it, so it is more than enough. And you see I have excesses I can always trim off. So the measurement now, opening it up, I have 5 inches for the collar. It's going to be folded. So 5 inches on fold, I have 2.5 inches. This 1/2 inch will be used to join it to the dress, and I'll be left with 2 inches collar. You could have as low as 1.5. So I just have to cut out two of this. So what I'm going to do next is to join this at the upper part. The reason why I have 2 pieces is because my fabric is not so much, because I have 2 yards on both sides, 2 yards of plain fabric, 2 yards of the pattern one. So the total fabric I make use of here is just 4 yards. So if you are not as plumb as me, you can make use of 3.5. Back to the collar, I'm going to have to join it this way. Just take 1/2 inch together, sew it up, and have 1 long strip of fabric which we are going to sew to the dress. So let me just do this and then we'll come back to fix it. I have joined the long strip together, as you can see. So I just have to iron it back. So I have a very long strip. So this point where I join, I'm going to match it up with the center back. So can you see where I took the collar? Then to the right side. Then you pin it down. So when sewing, just start from this point, from the center back, and then sew one side all down. Can you see? So I'm going to sew it. Can you see? Then I will stop here. So this can always be trimmed off. That is why it's good to have excess. Then I'll come back to this other side and also sew this all down. So the hem. So haven't done that, we are almost done. The next thing is to attach the sleeve. Before you attach the sleeve, I will advise you to just finish the lower part, either by just rolling it in or using a bias strip. After that, just attach it to the dress. Can you see? Just attach it to the dress, and then just sew in 1 inch seam allowance all down to the side, from the sleeve to the sides. So that will be all on the dress. So let me quickly do that and then we get started. The dress is ready and it's just so beautiful. All I have to do now is to give it a good press. So I've joined all the collar to it, as you can see, so beautiful. Then I finished it up with a serger. Then in case you don't want it to be open, all you have to do is to insert a button in it. That is, a press button is fine. So you just have something like this and it's going to be beautiful, starting from somewhere here. About 5 is okay. So all I have to do is to give it a good press. So let me show you the sleeve so well. Can you see that? Isn't this beautiful? So ensure you make this. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to give it a good press and then put it on for you to see how it looks on me with the belt. This is the dress we've just made. So beautiful and nice. Do you like it? I really love the flared sleeve. So this is a must-have kimono dress you need to make for yourself, for your baby girl, family and friends. So please make sure you make yours and share with us on our Facebook group, Sewing Innovations. Tag me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures. Yeah. And please make sure you subscribe, share the link with your family and friends. I have to go now to rock my dress. So bye, see you guys.